Jiri has this reputation for being a meathead and for not evolving. Matt Brown said something about it this week and upset people, but everyone agreed he was right. And it's because of things like losing a fight to Alex Pereira due to low kicks, almost losing a fight to Alexander Rakic due to low kicks, and then losing a second fight to Alex Pereira due to low kicks, and coming away with the idea that he needs to sit in perfect darkness for 2 days to improve himself, rather than stand in a bit of a shorter stance so that he can check kicks or move his leg. That issue comes off the fact that Jiri likes to stand in a long stance with his head over his lead leg because he likes to pull his head back and then swing on the counter, has done since his Rising days. But really, really good fighters, like say Max Holloway, if they're getting their leg chewed up in one fight, the next time they fight that opponent, they'll shorten their stance up and then do the earth-shattering thing of stepping forward into a longer stance before they attack, or when they attack. But the idea that Yuri's not improving at all, outside of bullshit samurai stuff, I think is a little bit harsh. So I'm going to share some stuff from an article I wrote on the Patreon whenever this fight happened, like the day after, Prochazka versus Hill, talking about Yuri's southpaw stance and his outside slip left straight. So that. Hill jabs from southpaw, Jiri slips, throws his left hand. Lovely stuff. It's way more effective if the opponent's standing orthodox because you get what is called an open side counter. There. So there are two sides to your stance, the open side and the closed side. The closed side is the side of Hill that is facing away from us, over there. Anything you throw towards this side, he can duck down below his lead shoulder, he can turn his back, he can take it on parts of his body that aren't going to hurt as much. The open side is the side we're looking at, and everything on this side of his body is protected by basically this arm. Anything Jiri throws up to the head here, anything Jiri throws down to the body here, all protected by this one arm floating around here. That's why good kickers kick into the open side for the most part. You watch any Muay Thai, pounding that rear arm with kicks is a priority. So when you're in this southpaw orthodox matchup or open stance matchup, guys be throwing their rear straight. And when they do, I've likened this to a duel with flintlocks. Because he's thrown this hand, he now has to retract this hand to get on defense, to get it back to where it was. And while he does, there is a straight shot at his chin there. So this is the shot that made Conor McGregor so dangerous. This is a favourite of people like Sean O'Malley, Tenshin Nasukawa, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Gervonta Davis, Zab Judah, list goes on and on and on. But the trick of it, of course, is that Jiri Prochazka is an orthodox fighter. So throughout this fight, he spent a lot of time attacking from orthodox and using that to shift into southpaw and then retreat. This is a pretty common tactic in MMA right now. If you've watched Israel Adesanya's career, he would engage from orthodox with a left step-up kick and then bring that kicking leg back behind him so that as he came down from the kick, he was going into southpaw, and then as the opponent moved forward, he could skewer them with the left straight. Alexander Volkanovski does the same thing but steps back to counter with the southpaw right hook. That's how he got Yair Rodriguez, and he got Ortega a bunch of times with that one too. Lots of different ways to do it because Sean O'Malley is very good at doing it off front kicks. He does what I call a cross step. Well, I mean, it is a cross step. He throws his front kick and basically steps across himself and then back on the diagonal. And then as the guy lunges back off that front kick, he leans back and catches them with the open side counter across the top. That's how he caught Thomas Almeida, but then, that's how he won the title against Aljamain Sterling. So that's the open side counter, but Jamal Hill's also a switch hitter. So when he goes southpaw at the same time as Jiri, this same slip to the left and then coming back with the left hand is available, but over the jab. And in fact, Jiri gets him off a missed left hook here, same punch. But the reason it's usually more effective on the open side is that if you do it on the closed side, this guy's shoulder and his tucked chin should make it very hard to hit him. It's only if he drops everything to stare at you after he's jabbed that you crack him. To watch someone get down behind their shoulder after jabbing, watch Roberto Duran. If you want to watch someone reverse shoulder roll and get down behind their rear shoulder after throwing the right straight, which makes the open side counter much more difficult to land, Roberto Duran was very good at that too. If you want to learn anything about throwing hands and staying safe, just watch Roberto Duran. But loads of open side counter attempts here. Loads of slipping the jab and coming back with the left over the top. The thing that this fight really shows is that when you are a switch hit, or to operate a switch hitting game against someone, is much easier if they are traditional and stay in the one stance. When you got two fighters both switching stances all the time, it's just it just creates chaos. Luckily, Jamal Hill's defense after throwing is abysmal, so it doesn't really matter in this fight. Switching to southpaw on the retreat to get Jamal Hill running onto him. Jiri also uses the left straight very well without the slip. This is something we talked about in Filthy Casual's guide to Francisco Trinaldo. He's a southpaw full time, but he likes to walk off round the ring. And then as the opponent follows him, he just stops and throws the left straight up the centre, straight down their grill. Henry Cejudo did the same thing against Wilson Hayes. Move, move, move. Stop and drop the left straight. Basically, this fight was just a showcase for Jiri Prochazka learned something new, and he tried to use it. His next fight against Khalil Roundtree, he didn't look so hot. I did like that he'd shortened up his stance, because he likes to fight from a very long stance, and that makes him susceptible to low kicks. So Khalil Roundtree didn't go to many low kicks, probably largely his fault too, but the opportunities were not as inviting. And then when Jiri actually got the pressure going in round 3 and bit down on his mouthpiece and tried to get to work, it was switching into southpaw and doing the left slip, left straight counter off Khalil's jab that basically began the end of the fight for him. But rewatching Jiri's fights in anticipation of this Olberg one, yeah, he still runs onto left hooks a lot. Yeah, he still gets low kicked a lot. But to say he's not grown, I think is a little bit unfair when he has pretty much unveiled a new tool. He used to just go into southpaw on a whim. Now he's actually trying to set a trap every time he does it. Anyway, sign up to my Patreon and you would have read this article a year and a half ago. Cheers.